can sing and dance, and we don't need pants. See, we're just like you. We have regular jobs, just with low-going knobs. See, we're just like you. Yes, we graduate from Harvard.
At the head of my class!
But if it's a sobriety,
I ran out fast!
there's no strings attached and there's no hand to fight. We're just like you.
Good whatever to you, whenever you are watching this episode of Successful Failures, where we check out a show that we really enjoyed, but the network airing it certainly did not, because they canceled it right quick. As usual, I am joined by my co-host Spurg Snake.
Hello.
And we have a special guest today from Once Over With Cayley. Cayley, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here.
Nice.
Yeah, we talked about this down in Tampa at WATP Live, and seeing someone who's also into niche movies, I enjoy some of the stuff that you're covering over on your channel. Some is new to me, so I always like seeing little facets of film that I haven't seen yet. So
Thank you.
Fun shows, and we talked about two different shows while we were down there. Duckman, I was surprised to hear you mention,
Yes.
and believe it or not, Duckman was on for a while, considering that nobody watched it.
4 seasons?
That's what
4
the rumor
seasons?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
70 episodes, I believe. And Greg the Bunny, a season. 2 if you count the IFC shorts, but those actually weren't TV shows, and they had no budget whatsoever. I've seen small little clips. I actually need to dive into them, because IFC did a lot of fun stuff, but only one episode that they had on network television. And Fox had a lot of fun things, and then just got rid of them really quick. This was one of them.
Yeah, there was a Family Guy joke when they restarted that show, when they rebooted it. I don't know. But Peter Griffin names, like, swear to God, like 20 shows in a row that they had got canceled, like within a summer. It was 20 shows.
Yeah. I remember the
remember the
PJs
gag.
was another one from that time period. Do you remember the PJs?
Yeah, it was Eddie Murphy show.
Yeah.
That was
The
a
Eddie
very
Murphy exclamation. And
Yep.
the UPN, I think, gave that a second life, but the UPN passed on giving Greg the Bunny a second life, which is unfortunate. And our little niche community online, this is like right up their alley. We are quite the fan of puppets, as people can clearly see behind me. And this would be something that our little niche community, if they're unaware of, would really enjoy.
Oh yeah, there's a variety of different puppets. They're nothing like any Sesame Street Muppet or anything like that. They're all individually different from each other, which I really enjoyed. They have special personalities, you know.
When I was recalling back to this, not having seen the show in many years, Tardy the Turtle was my favorite, and he had a bunch of dumb little quotes. They do have a rich cast on here. Well, we didn't get into the premise. Greg the Bunny is a show within a show, like we covered last time with Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, but we're actually behind the scenes on set of the actual actors. Puppets live side by side with humans in this world, and we have a kids show, a low-rated kids show that we follow behind the scenes here. And I mentioned Tardy the Turtle. Used to be my favorite. I've got another favorite who we'll get into. And I actually thought his name was very offensive. I was like, how can they call him a retardy here on network television?
No. What are you doing? He's late.
It took me way too long to be like, oh yeah, tardy is a word, meaning late.
Yeah, no, it got me. I think I was like 6 or 7 episodes, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh.
I think that's how they got away with it. But
Yeah,
there
exactly.
certainly is an implication here.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be driving the forklift.
No.
That was probably that one made me laugh really hard. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing this, and he just crashes it. It's so great.
And here we get a little taste of Tardy and what he's like as Gil, the director of the show, is trying to prove to the network executive Allison that people really do like her. So, Tardy, what do you think?
How do you feel about Alice?
I love Allison.
How do you feel about ashtrays?
I love ashtrays.
Good. Off you go.
That was one of them that was really good. Just really good.
I
He
love
has
that.
a
And
few other quotes, like drumsticks can be chicken too.
Yeah, that was. He was.
Sorry to talk over you, Cayley.
no, it's fine. He has all the one-liners. I wanted to point out something that I thought was really interesting that you said before we move on too far, which is that you talked about how the puppets live alongside the humans. And I think that this show does such a great job of world building that that's one of the reasons it's so shocking that it didn't move forward. It world builds in the same way that like Shakes the Clown world builds, where it's like we have clowns and we have mimes and we have humans and they all exist in our current universe. And I love the idea of taking just one little teeny tiny thing and making that be different. And this show is amazing at that.
Oh yeah,
I like that you mentioned Shakes the Clown. I watched that a few years ago, expecting to be like, I kind of remember this. I'm sure we're going to turn it off, and it's really dumb. Shakes the Clown is a really good independent movie.
Yeah.
And the getting into the dynamic of the rodeo clowns absolutely hating birthday clowns and the birthday clowns beating the shit out of the mimes. That might be the one. There's a bunch of movies that I would enjoy coming on Once Over with Cayley, and mentioning that one. Oh my goodness!
Come on over.
I think that's the one I love the most out of all the movies that I've mentioned to you.
So what I love about what Greg the Bunny does here is that, again, we have that sort of hierarchy. We know that Tardy is at the bottom of the hierarchy. We also get to see little hamsters. We get to see gophers, which of course plays into the idea of this being a show within a show because they're the showrunners, they're the gophers. And I just love this sort of hierarchy that does not exist in the real world, but it's so successfully done that you feel like it does.
Oh yeah, and they noticeably treat puppets as second-class citizens.
Yes.
And we even get sensitivity training as well. I've actually got my Susan clips up right now. I mentioned Tardy the Turtle used to be my favorite when this show was on air, but in the rewatch, it's Susan the Monster. And mentioning like the puppets are all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and Susan the Monster, she turned into my favorite one.
Oh, I feel for you, Susan.
I mean, why can't I just find a man that'll take me in his arms and hold me, make me feel safe?
I know. You cannot look for happiness in a man. That's the thing. You know, you have to look within yourself, your friends, your career.
You're not getting any either, are you?
That was one of the good ones. And the paintball episode when they went and played paintball. Sarah Silverman says something about the hunt and blood, and then Sarah says it's the other way around, and it's a sex joke, but it's really a gross sex joke, kind of.
And I was trying to find
they sneak a lot of shit in.
Because that is like a really funny. I don't let sex get in the way of blood. That's funny. It's the other way around for me.
Yeah.
In scanning for that clip, I couldn't find it.
Drop it.
I did find this fun little clip. Susan had a bunch of good lines in the paintball episode this was a team building exercise, and Gil didn't invite any of the women. So Sarah Silverman kind of gets the women to rally up and, all right, it's men versus women since you didn't invite us. And all the men immediately abandon it. Gil he runs into the woods, and Count Blah, Warren the Ape, and Junction Jack just like, fuck it. Jimmy has a girlfriend, so
right.
He is chasing after Sarah Silverman, the Allison character, this entire series. So him actually having a girlfriend, he's nowhere to be seen. He abandons everything for his girlfriend. And here it's getting a little tense, and Susan tries to calm things over.
You drop it.
Ladies, let's just cool out. Now let's all agree that it'd be nice to have a penis. But the sad truth is, we don't. And some of us probably never will.
I love that so much.
And
As
she
the
also had-
one without a penis in the room, I feel this. This is wonderful. Yes, agreed, Susan. Agreed.
And probably
most
never
of
will.
us probably. So she does. It does sound like that Susan, if this were to come back, would transition into a trans male monster rather than the lady monster. Actually, that would kill the joke, though. It's so much more funny.
That's why
the monster being a lady.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially when, like you were saying, Seth Green chases after Sarah Silverman and flirts with Sarah, and winds up making out with her.
Susan gets a bit hurt by that. Actually, I do have a clip from that episode of Seth Green trying to make Allison jealous so she'll pay attention to him. And there we see Susan. She's dressing up. She's getting into it. She likes Jimmy back, even though it's all a ruse for him, putting a little bow in her hair.
Laugh, Jimmy.
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Hey, I've always wondered, are monsters ticklish?
Well,
You little ticklish?
come on, Jimmy.
You like a little tickle?
Oh, stop
I
that.
was just saying that I think it was kind of bizarre for you to call me on my cell phone to tell me that cell phones give you cancer. Do you?
Who's a tickle monster? You're a tickle monster.
Almost there. Almost there.
Okay.
What are you guys doing?
Nothing.
Almost makes Susan calm
Why are we?
while trying to make her jealous. So that is where the erogenous zone on that monster is with a little bit of tickling.
I would like to also point out that Susan has at least 2 sets of boobs. We don't know exactly how many, but I do really like, there's a quote that Susan says, insulting in the same episode, insulting Sarah Silverman's character, Allison, being like, why would he want somebody who isn't hairy? And when he could have all this, and like, it's so good.
There's a lot going on right here under that sweater.
So much rivalry.
Yeah. There's a lot of good dynamic between a lot of these characters.
And Susan, there is a fun little joke they have here that if they had more seasons, I would have liked to seen this throwaway gag built upon.
Even here.
Because we weren't invited.
So what? If we were, we wouldn't have to be here? Isn't that a little ridiculous?
No. If we stayed home like the good little girls Gil thinks we are, then he gets all the power.
You know, if you want to unleash the real power inside of you, you can't be afraid to ask for help. Have either of you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior?
Please shoot me.
That came out of left field too. Like, I wasn't expecting that joke at the end of that, like for asking for help. I thought it was going to go into something else, like a Tony Robbins thing. No, it turns right into Jehovah's Witness or Mormon.
Susan goes to church.
Yeah. Susan is super religious. She's very chaste.
This is correct. Yes, I agree. I'd also like to point out her boob size goes down towards the end.
Yeah.
They're not.
I just noticed there from that clip.
So
Yeah.
there is continuity issues in this show because, like many of the Fox shows of this time period, they actually filmed and did a production order that was different than the airing order. So after it was all done and they created all the episodes, I know that Fox then switched them around, probably for ratings. They probably thought they would put the better episodes up front so that they could get the better ratings in the beginning.
I was going to mention that.
And yeah, so because of that, we get the no continuity in Susan's boobs. We get no continuity. Sometimes Greg's bunny eyes are sometimes buttons, and sometimes they're like actual eye-looking things.
The majority of episodes, they're buttons. I imagine that was late into production that Fox said, we don't like the buttons. Give them eyes.
Yeah.
Jimmy did a joke about parking his Datsun in Sarah Silverman's car spot, but then in a subsequent episode, he didn't have a car. So I was like, oh, there was a couple of things that I caught that was just like that. They did air these out of order.
And also, Allison not knowing who Jimmy was. It was a pretty late episode where she's asking, who are you?
Right.
Where it's been majorly established.
I can't believe
that
the
she's
car's not.
figured out who he is. But Jimmy's car did break down in one of the episodes, and we have a few fun gags here as he's looking over his car, pouring out all this steam and upset about it. So there was an explanation of why he did and then did not have a car. Yeah, the production order just messed up that continuity.
I can't believe the car's not working. And on the day when we got all this extra dry ice. Hey, Blah, do you know anything about cars?
Yeah, sure. I know that yours is older than I am, and it's leaking more fluids, blah.
Can you give us a lift?
Yeah, sure. Just have to make one quick stop first, blah.
Great.
Perfect.
This is a good episode too.
I love Count Blah.
Yeah. I like also that they reference Sesame Street a lot in this show. And that
he has a feud with the Count.
Yes.
I am actually from Romania. He puts on that he is from Jersey.
Yeah, he's from Jersey.
So we have I pulled the introduction of Greg to Count Blah. Greg is just a guy off the street looking to get an office job, and he accidentally wanders into an audition, and he's so likable that he gets the lead role. Rochester Rabbit was in the lead role, and he is old. He's forgetting his lines. He is looking haggard. So the network want to replace him, and Gil is about to put his foot down and say, "You're not replacing Rochester," until they threaten his job. And Eugene Levy plays such a great spineless showrunner. He's always lying to people to make himself look like the good guy. He does. One of his lines is, "I expressed an opinion. You lose your job over doing things like that." So here's Greg's on the lot, seeing all sorts of celebrities, including his hero, Count Blah.
I'm from Sesame Street, and I don't know Big Bird, so buzz up.
No. Of course I know who you are. You're Count Blah, right?
Actually, I am Blah.
Wow. Count Blah, can I just say that you scared the piss out of me? And I mean that from the heart, sir.
Please, you may call me Blah. Blah.
Okay. Blah, blah.
No, just Blah. Blah.
Just blah, blah.
Blah, my boy, it is simple. Just Blah. Blah.
Just blah, blah.
Look, don't turn this into a friggin' Abbott and Costello routine, okay? Just call me Blah and leave it at that.
I like that they referenced that too, that they were going into that Abbott and Costello, who's on first type just repetitive joke. And that's why I like Count Blah, because they stick it every time too. Like, it does not stop. Like, he never drops the bleh throughout the whole thing. That's definitely one of the more continuous things.
That's always, even that grave that we saw, R.I.P.B. Rest in peace, Blah.
Bleh. I forget what it was. I think it was that Transylvania movie where they were talking about how did that start? Who did that start with? And it's like a negative connotation for vampires now, like that. Bleh, like it's like makes them sound stupid.
I did see that recently, where I know exactly what you're talking about, and they really hate Count Blah. He is just a vampire face with his
exactly
claws.
that. But and then here in this show, he is not though. He's from Romania. He's a real deal. And the Count from Sesame Street stole his gimmick. That's too good.
We never actually, and all the little Hollywood insider stuff. They drop this is the Fozzie Bear trial all over again.
I definitely made a note of that because that was like the puppet rights episode. Like, I think it's the one where Greg the Bunny goes full like puppish, and they have the Louis Farrakhan style puppet that brings him in.
Herbert Hymena.
Yeah, Herbert Hymena. That was his name.
You need to get back to your puppish roots.
Yeah, that's right. And then he starts speaking to him in puppet, and he's like, "See, man, they took that shit away from you. You don't even know your own language. You don't know who you are." And it's so spot on. And people who were born in 2002 don't realize that all the way through for the last 22 years, it's been even before I was born. The same type of tropes are going on in this show that are going on in movies and shows today.
There was definitely a lot of deep commentary in particular in that episode. And
Yeah.
again, I think that goes so much to show how well the world building is a success in this show. We have concepts that are started in this first episode, which is where we just watched this clip from when Greg first meets Count. And then we revisit those throughout. So like the idea of Greg finding himself as a fabricated American, that's a huge thing and a huge theme of the show.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because I wrote that up. I had to make sure that we kept fabricated American in there, because there is that duality that puppets and humans have throughout this whole thing. And I agree, the world building is right. Even in this little clip, like Greg the Bunny says, "You're the Count," like you're Count Blah, and like his arm, like without even noticing that. I caught it on this watch because I'm paying attention to the clips more, but they articulate the puppets real well. And I think that subconsciously sells it to you because they are moving a little more correctly.
What's real fun is they show outtakes. Some of them are deleted scenes at the end of episodes. Some of them are outtakes. In one episode, the puppeteer just can't pull off the sunglasses of Blah correctly. And that's just what's over the entire credits of next take.
That was one of the recent ones. That was a note I made as well. It's like the outtakes at the end of every episode are not just outtakes from the show, but some of them are outtakes to be outtakes for the credits reel. Like they shoot an outtake on purpose for the puppet. But when you're talking about with the Count, I think his eyebrow gets ripped off as well during the last take. Like he pulls the sunglasses off and his eyebrow comes off with it. And that's like a wardrobe malfunction.
So I had a question about the end credit outtake stuff that maybe you guys know the answer to. Every single episode except for Father and Son Reunion has the outtakes at the end, and Father and Son Reunion has a song during the end credits.
Oh.
And I was like, where are my end credit outtakes? Like, I need them. This is
just a still picture.
Yeah.
It took what I was expecting that. It was like The Simpsons opening up without the chalkboard gag or the couch gag, not having those outtakes on that one singular episode.
So do either of you know why that was? I tried to look it up minimally, but I couldn't find anything on it.
Oh no, I didn't look it up at all. I do remember what you were saying now though. And it's little things like that can jar you out of what the familiarity of the show.
My guess is that it was a last minute network decision to whatever they put in there, the network didn't like. Very much like we saw with TV Funhouse and the Porn for Kids segment immediately being taken out and made porn for everyone because the network was like, no, what did you put on our network? But Fox, with a little more oversight, that's my guess, is that they threw together something that the network saw and said no, and it was too late for them to throw something else in there of their outtakes.
I agree. There's a specific instance I could think of. The graffiti in the bathroom episode where Greg and Jimmy are taking a piss and they're reading all the like negative comments about all their friends. And there's one about Jack, and it says Jack has, and it's crossed out, and it says a big red caboose. So it's saying he has a big red ass, basically. But what I had to stop it because I wanted to know what it said. And what they scratched out is Jack likes it in the caboose. And they scratched out the likes it in and put it has a big red up above it. So that joke was not going to fly. I think they caught that. And it was a quick little, like you see they write about Jimmy and then Jack. And then there's another piece of graffiti. It says, "What are you looking at?" And you can only read it if you're in the long shot from the side. So I did a little Easter egg hunting on that episode. I like to do that.
There was actually a TV show that I worked on that had a set with a wall full of graffiti, and I wish I would have taken a picture on the Name Your Poo after a movie I can only remember Forrest Dump, but the set designers had a lot of fun in creating the graffiti on that wall, and there was like maybe a dozen of them, and Forrest Dump is the only one I can remember. That's
Man.
very bad of me.
That's amazing.
We were talking about the outtakes. I put together Mary Lou Henner is Warren the Ape's ex-wife, and here this is from the episode where she ends up sleeping with Count Blah as he's getting over his wife, but this does lead into some outtakes at the end of Mary Lou Henner sleeping with puppets. So this was really fun, especially because I love Elaine from Taxi. I love Mary Lou Henner. She is great and hasn't been popping up. She must have saved her money and only works when she needs to.
That was amazing.
Blah. Yeah.
Oh, I love you, Maggie.
You disgust me.
That's my baby.
So there you see the conclusion of the episode. She ended up getting back with Warren the Ape, and then some outtakes of Mary Lou Henner in bed with Count Blah.
So good. I wanted to know what Count said to Mary Lou Henner right after the cut, because he says something to him. I didn't catch it. He's like, "You're laughing," so like I think he was like, "It's okay, right?" You know, but that was a great moment. Like, it's earned. You know, she leaned right into it, and you hear the whole set just dying laughing. And that's not the only time somebody kisses a puppet, and it looks just ridiculously funny. I don't think I could keep a straight face.
That's right. We had an episode where when Jimmy was trying to get Susan, the monster, to hit on her to get Allison jealous, that she gives him a big old kiss, and she swallows his face because that's a big monster mouth on her, and
His
we don't get to
entire
see her
head,
tongue.
And then his
Jimmy's
shirt is all
surprised.
wet for the next scene, which is perfect.
It's yay big. Like her tongue is like, he's like, wow. He was like blown away. Like it shocked him. It was great.
It seemed like he was having second thoughts of like, I'm not physically attracted to her, but that tongue, oh my goodness.
He was pleasantly surprised.
Wrapped around his head, that tongue. So here's another articulation thing. We have Warren the Ape's eyes changing here in this episode where Michael McDonald blackmailed his way onto getting on the show. I really enjoyed this one.
This was probably, one of my favorite ones. I'm sorry, I didn't even, I had to get it out. It was such a good episode.
I've got a few more clips from this one because this one was a whole lot of fun. Michael, and when I was on Superstore as an extra, Michael McDonald was the director a few times. People loved him as director. He got shit done. There's some people who want it perfect, but once he had it, it's a silly sitcom. We got it. It's fun. Let's move on. And they would regularly have a half-day Friday on Superstore with Michael McDonald as the director, which doesn't happen a lot. It's usually full day, 12-hour days for the cast and crew, Monday through Friday. So everyone loved when Michael McDonald came on set. Unlike this character, no one liked this character who really wanted to be a television star and just didn't have the chops.
Oh.
And here we have the showdown, and Warren's eyes here is what really caught me after he gets a little bit of a shock.
Please, I played the unscrupulous owner of a nursing home in a very well-received episode of Diagnosis Murder, and I think I know a prop when I see one.
And that is not a prop.
like they
It's
switched
funny.
out the Warren puppet, or actually, I guess probably from the. No, it looks like they switched him out. Those eyes still look like his. Just tossing him completely across the room is fun. So yeah, they did a cowboy switch there. He's got his regular Warren eyes as he smashes there, and then cowboy
He
switch.
comes up with the big yellow. Whoa. Yeah, no, that Mike McDonald episode is pretty good. They follow his car, like
Yes, I
they
have a
tail
clip
him
of his
back.
car too, and you'll see they want to make sure because he's messing with Dottie. He's blackmailing the lady on the show, Dottie, and once they find out, they come to her aid.
Well, what are we waiting for? To the Blomobile! Wait, I rode my bike today. Come on, Jack, hurry up. We're going to lose him, Black.
Yeah, we're going to lose that.
All right, men.
That is a real thing in Los Angeles. There are people that have this big old promotion. Like that's someone very specific that they are doing a 1-for-1 parody of there.
You can kind of see it in that little shot too. It's a struggling actor all over. Like on every single angle of his car, it says struggling actor.
There's
Struggling star actor.
it's the face shot, and he has them all along the sides of the car too. Like that shot is like on little circles right above each window. It's so good. There's 3 of them in the back window. I sort of believe that's a real thing, but it's like hard to believe. Somebody could be so desperate. I could not do that to myself.
I couldn't. I saw them. I saw them with that car.
I seen it.
I am an eyewitness to that being an actual thing. This is hilarious and a joke, but this is based on a real person that these writers and producers saw in real life.
All right, men. Let's get a weapons check.
I got a wrench.
I got a rope.
I got a candlestick.
Guys, we're going to beat up Leo, not play Clue.
I knew that joke was coming as it was happening, and I still
Once
laughed.
the candlestick came out, it's you could
the wrench, the rope, all right. So Mrs. Plum in the conservatory with the candlestick, I get it, but I still laughed. I mean, that was another thing about this show, is a lot of the jokes are familiar, and that lulls you into a nice little you feel more of a connection because you know what's happening.
I think that Sean S. Baker, who of course is the creator of the show, I think that he has such a sincerity to what he does. So like when we're talking about him, he usually does what he's doing now, I guess is a better way to describe it, is that he's doing movies like Tangerine and The Florida Project and things that are very gritty and very painful to watch in many ways. And so I think that when we see these moments in Greg the Bunny where it's like we're predicting the joke, but we still laugh, it's because it feels sincere because he has such a deep understanding of human nature and puppet nature, apparently also fabricated American nature.
Right.
He's able to absolutely make these puppets come to life, and we don't feel like they are being operated by another person. But speaking of familiarity, Leo Cornelli had a familiar entrance when he came on set.
Hey, everybody. Whoa. 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 How about that entrance? You like it? I just made it up. Found the crutches in the hallway.
Could somebody help me, please?
That poor writer.
I just made it up. I entitled that hack entrance because everyone our age has seen Gene Wilder do that entrance fantastically in the good Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. What I also like here is trying to figure out where the puppet operator is, and this was like many hallways that you see in shows are just like the hallway of their offices, but they couldn't do that on Greg the Bunny. They needed to build sets with ditches for the puppeteers to run along in. So that's like a little ditch, a little hole that they put in there to have the puppet operator. And I do recall when I owned the DVD, the audio commentary, they had a big safety meeting. Everyone watch out for the ditches, be careful, safety first. And Seth Green said, and then I immediately fell in a ditch on my way out of the meeting.
There's a lot of shots like that I was like, oh man, that's pretty talented. There was more to it than you just see. And one of them was in the first episode I watched where Greg's taking a bath in the sink and then he rips a fart and the bubbles come up. Like, so there's like you said, there's a puppet operator, a bowl of water, and something rigged up so somebody blows into a tube and bubbles come up. So there's a lot more going on for.
Like, I imagine got a rubber glove for the hand to come through so the water doesn't come out. Thinking of that technical stuff, I really enjoyed. And here we have puppet. We have Rochester Rabbit right before he's fired. And a fun little appearance by Jeff Ross as the security guard.
Oh.
So the person operating this car, there's no way that he's seeing what's going on. This had to be a good professional driver, not just someone's first day on the job.
Oh, crap. Wow, it's Rochester Rabbit! God, I hate that guy.
Are you all right?
Well, Rent-A-Cop, let's just say this was a good day for me not to wear any pants.
But while we're still on this first episode, Rochester Rabbit was very upset about being replaced, and he almost did something very extreme. And we'll go to the big ending here.
Rochester, my friend, don't do it, blah.
Give me 1 good reason why I should.
Prison rape.
So Rochester is one of my favorite characters. And when this show first came out and I was watching it on Fox, I am from Rochester, New York. And I was like, is it a reference to Rochester, New York? Like, do they know that like I'm here and this is really exciting for me? And then I was like, no, that's impossible. Why would that be a thing? But when I was just researching this show and rewatching it, I found out that Dan Milano, who plays Greg the Bunny and also Warren Montague, who then went on to do Robot Chicken, he actually went to University of Buffalo and he went to Tisch School. So he was in this area and he almost certainly named Rochester Rabbit after something that he hated in Rochester. So I like that this is shitting on my town. It makes me feel good.
The Rochester garbage plate.
Yes.
I did have that when I was up in Rochester for DabbleCon. That was that was a good plate.
That's great.
I was told that the garbage plate, and I forget what they called it, the gastro plate, the diner I was recommended. Apparently, the owners are like, we don't want to call one of our food items the garbage plate, so we had to be like, this was recommended. We were recommended the garbage plate. We call it this here.
Yes. So only the originator of the garbage plate may call it the garbage plate. So there are lots of other restaurants that have things like a trash plate.
Yeah, I ran into a similar situation with a bakery I was working at and another bakery who calls a dessert a monk. And we started calling it a monk, same exact dessert. And he got real mad, like really, like take you to court pissed.
Yeah.
So I get it. But that's like one of the biggest things, especially if you're in the Midwest, you know about the Rochester garbage plate and possibly Cincinnati spaghetti, depending on how well traveled you are.
No, I don't know about Cincinnati spaghetti.
It's basically chili on top of spaghetti.
Like
it's like a pile of spaghetti noodles, and it's like chili with beans on top.
Yeah, we had a restaurant that did that in Maryland. I forget what the name of that place was. They had really cheap wing nights, but I recall that Cincinnati chili made its way down to my neck of the woods of where I grew up.
I'm interested in that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that are just like holes in the wall. Recommendations
Vegas,
you make to other people.
Your carne asada fries. That is your best drunk food out in Vegas.
Right.
But getting back to Rochester Rabbit, I imagine you were disappointed in his second appearance because it was certainly his final appearance.
What's everybody standing around for? What, did Roger dance himself to death?
He's dead.
Oh, great. Now I'm the jerk. Yeah.
Greg the Bunny
That's a
did
good
him a
one.
favor and it got him a job. Initially, he's just the janitor. That's what they allowed him to do on set. The former star is now the janitor, and Greg the Bunny fakes an injury, and Rochester gets this big dance number that he keels over and dies. So 2 episodes for Rochester.
I know, I was so sad. But the second episode is great, and even after he dies, his funeral scene is pretty incredible.
I really enjoyed
I've
that.
got
I'm glad you mentioned. That's a really good scene.
Yeah, I've got a few of those. His dying wish was to be propped up in a coffin in a bar and have a roast. So he had a very unique way of wanting to go out. And some people, Greg didn't find the humor in it, but all his co-stars had an absolute blast with this roast of Rochester funeral.
And don't forget the floozies. There was bar floozies.
Rochi had a heart attack. Smart money was on liver failure.
And as a beloved television star, Rochester touched millions of adoring fans. Fortunately, only 6 of them pressed charges.
Okay, I put together a little video tribute because it's not the first time Rochester's died on stage.
Yo, back off. The guy's funny.
That's a good joke, man. It's so good. I like the cutaway
His jokes
gag.
were on par with everyone else's jokes, but no one is giving Gil a damn thing.
No, he has it rough throughout the series, pretty much. He goes through a divorce. He has a union problem with the hamsters.
I do love in the Puppet Sensitivity episode, they do some role playing, and Warren the Ape is role playing with Gil and kind of drops the premise just to get out all his frustrations with his boss.
Yeah, okay. Give me you know what? Give me some fruit. Just a bowl of fruit.
Get out.
What?
Get out, you spineless, visionless, talentless television hack. Don't come back without hairnets for them eyebrows, buddy.
Yeah, puppet. Okay. Let's see. Allison. Okay, now you'll be the puppet customer. Who would like to be the waiter who abuses Allison?
Everyone is just trampling over each other to abuse Allison. Oh, we can get to abuse Allison? Yes. They're giving you permission?
That's a good...
And I did have quite the crush on Sarah Silverman at this time. At some point, someone called me crazy. There is a Deep Space Nine episode where young Sarah Silverman is there. And 7 of 9, as beautiful as she is, in 1999, I would take Sarah Silverman over 7 of 9. And I know 7 of 9 is for everybody, but Sarah Silverman, 1999, that's a special for me. Me gusta más.
Yeah, she really started picking up after this, too. Far more successful than Kevin Brennan. That's just for whoever's in chat want to watch it. Yeah, no, this was like, I missed this show completely. At first, I thought I was conflating it with Unhappily Ever After. Jay Brow was in the chat mentioning Nikki Cox. I had the wrong show, but the right rabbit. I could see Greg the Bunny, the little brown rabbit. In Unhappily Ever After, I think it was more of a purple Mr. Floppy thing that Bobcat Goldthwait was doing.
It was Mr. Floppy, if I remember correctly.
Right. And there's like a lot of jokes in this show that just were throwaway jokes. Fleshies always fail upwards. That's mighty fabric of you. There was a couple of others that's like offhanded that would be like with the stereotypes. They were replacing it with puppetry, and it worked really well because it's a reflection of who we are. We do that shit to everybody all the time, no matter who's in the room.
And I think we might have some of those terms here in the workplace safety video.
So, Fred, did you get that big promotion
okay.
you deserved? No, they gave it to some stupid puppet just because he was a puppet. Which puppet did they give it to? I don't know. They all look alike. I wish I could close the borders down and keep all them smelly puppets out of our country. Hey, Sock, why don't you go back to where you came from?
Hey, man, I'm from Cincinnati.
Yeah, well, you're still a sock and you'll always be a sock. Sock.
I can't take this anymore. It's payback time.
It's straight into falling down, right? Like, it's all right. I gotta end it. And Montague makes a great point right here. I can't remember. I forgot. Warren. He's like, "Oh, why'd you stop it? It was just getting good." You know.
Yeah, I should have kept that with a couple more seconds. He's really into what's going on there. Why'd you stop it now? It's at the good part.
Yeah, I think he's one of the ones who is more racist against fleshies or speciesist. I don't know.
Warren is definitely, he is pretentious. He wants to have an opinion. He loves Shakespeare. He is the character that is supposed to be so over the top when it comes to like being an asshole, but thinking that he's the greatest.
Right. Like in the other clip he mentioned, he was in a very good episode of Diagnosis Murder. So you think he's one of those guys that just mixes around on every NCIS or CSI but never really gets into doing what he really wants to do, Shakespeare, but he still has that arrogance above everybody else because that's what he can do.
He is cast for a Shakespeare role. He is haunted by what he has done to Allison in Piddler on the Roof when he pisses in her car. And then Greg guilts him throughout the entire episode. I believe it's Gary Oldman is casting it. He sees the photo. What the fuck is this? His agent is my AA sponsor. And then his guilt-riddled performance is completely driven by Greg guilting him over wrongfully pissing in Allison's car because Gil set that all up by really wanting to tell him no, but Allison said no.
That's one of Gil's problems throughout the series is trying to break bad news or hide bad news from people or shielding the lower workers from the upper management. Like Eugene Levy does a good job of being like an innocent manipulator.
Gil does
I
not.
love what you did.
Whoops, sorry. I have an example of that right here.
Go ahead.
There are a lot of examples of that, and I have this one that pays off immediately with
I loved what
his snake nature.
You did, but Allison at the network just hated your trust song, so she's making me fire you.
What? I put my heart and soul into that song.
I know, and it shows. Please, and I quote your song. May my bones be crushed to moldy dust. If you can't trust, you can't trust. You can't trust me when I say that I loved your song. Now, your office has been cleaned out. Boxes are already in your car, so off you go.
This sucks.
What was that about?
Oh, nothing. Writer of the trust song just quit.
Oh, really? Oh, I love that song.
Hey, we all did.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just shielding himself from any type of someone not liking him on all fronts.
He does not like confrontation.
Yeah, he avoids it at all costs. That's true. Like later on in the series when he hit the father-son episode where they do bonding, Gil and Jimmy bond. That was another good one that I liked. You talked last week, maybe it was, I can't remember, but we were talking about unearned moments in television shows. Like BoJack Horseman earns its moments versus other shows not earning that.
Duckman, like Duckman,
yeah.
As much as I like Duckman, it does not earn its emotional moments at all. Whereas BoJack Horseman reminds me of Duckman, but done a lot better in many ways.
Fair enough, and that's Eugene Levy and Seth Green have that father-son moment in the convenience store. Speaking of me being a register jockey, that's the puppet I most identify with, is the guy running the convenience store. I don't have a picture of him offhand, but he's like all pierced up. He's got spike collars on. He looks like a metal kid.
And let's remember what helped that bonding was pot brownies.
Yes. Oh, have a second one. Greg offered him too. And they go to see Warren do his one-man show, like in The Big Lebowski. He's like doing this And they're all and like everybody's ripping on him in the audience, and he can't see him, so he doesn't know who's saying it. You suck.
I imagined any Lebowski fans got the flashbacks to the Big Lebowski one-man show with Warren there.
I also really loved in that convenience store when they're on the pot brownies and Eugene Levy just has like powdered donut all over his lips. Like, there's just those little things where you're like, I know that probably nobody scripted that. Like, that was just them sitting on the floor and Eugene Levy being his character Gil. Like,
that's what makes him such a great actor. He I don't know, he knows how to do the thing. And Seth Green was right across from him eating the chocolate donut, just like, oh yeah, like shoving it in his face, like in an exaggerated way. It's like, they didn't go too far with the stoner stereotype, like when they were laughing in the theater. When the brownie starts kicking in, Eugene Levy goes right to that dated rap. What's up? He does it like 3 times
on their face. Both Jimmy and the Greg puppet. You can see them cringing. It was already out of date when this aired. That
right.
Him trying to be cool, dropping that what's up.
And that's probably why I really like the show, is because it hits the right spots the right way, I think. I'm upset that I didn't know about it sooner.
Seeing those outtakes at the end of the episode and the puppeteers like having some improv, I didn't pull the one of the puppet that doesn't have his crutches anymore, that's just lying on the ground. But that in that episode, they just stuck with him and showed all the improvisations that actor had going through. So yeah, they were like, everyone on set very quickly understood their character and were able to add to what was on the script.
He does a writer's joke right at the end. If I wasn't a writer, you wouldn't be treating me this way.
If I was an actor.
Yeah, okay, that's what he says.
If I was an actor, everybody would be here helping me.
Yeah, exactly. And he's right. He's right, though.
I think that the crippled puppet was actually also performed by Drew Massey, who was also Count Blah.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people pulled double duty.
You can feel like when they're really good puppeteers in this show.
Yeah, I agree. They, like you said, we were talking before, they articulate well. They feel like they are a part of the world and not just coexisting with it. You know, this has been happening to all these people their whole life, and they sell it to me. Every episode, I get sold. One of the outtakes was the big monster Sarah coming down, like Jimmy and Allison are having an exchange, and then she interrupts at an inappropriate time, like cuts right through. Oh, excuse me, I gotta use the bathroom. And then Seth Green just turns and laughs because he finds that funny. And that's what I think helps the show, is that the actors and the puppeteers are into the laughing of the show. They want to make it as ridiculous and surreal as possible while staying as grounded and serious as actors. You know, all of them. And it melds really well.
And speaking of acting and writers, even though she's a network executive, Allison did want to be on the creative end, but she didn't have the skill set, which we'll see in this clip.
Look at me. I get to act and I get to sing.
Yeah, well, I can act. And I can't sing. I tried to write. I tried writing a script for Full House. It was really, really horrible.
Well, that's okay. Most scripts don't get anywhere.
No, they made
it. No, my scripts are good enough.
It was shitty. It was acceptable for a Full House, but it was a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's like her role, is to be that shitty executive who doesn't really care except about climbing the corporate ladder. Because she makes a couple other jokes where like, oh, now he's not going to know that I did the thing and I won't get a promotion. And in this one, that she was struggling with that, with being not liked so much by the cast and crew. It turns out it was Gil blaming her for a lot of shit.
One of my favorite episodes was the episode with the TV guide reporter following the cast around, and Allison took one for the team. Both Jimmy and Greg are competing for the love of this TV guide reporter, but in the end, she is a lesbian, and there is all sorts of stuff that she could report on. Here's one that Allison doesn't want to get out, and not being a lesbian herself, but wanting to save the show.
That is it. We have a report.
They forgot Junction Jack's birthday and really quick threw together this birthday party at Jack's house.
Her here, and until she leaves, I do not think it's too much to ask that you all, for once, not act like freaks. Shh, here's Jack.
You're going to surprise him.
I'm gonna surprise him.
Sir. Hi, lady.
Just Tardy right in the background. Hi, lady. Just a little sneak 'em in.
Very much in character, and we do have a bunch more cast confessions that she is all ready to report on until she gets a night with the beautiful Allison.
I wear false teeth.
Oh.
That was great.
And I don't really wear glasses. I just borrowed these from my grandmother.
All right, I leave early on Friday nights to go to happy hour. Not because I'm Jewish and have to go to shul.
I'm the one who's been eating all the stray cats.
That's gross.
And I do love in that one also that we get to see Susan and Jack are wearing the same dress. And
I was told...
Susan was very upset about that earlier because she was told that it was one of a kind.
That's right. That was a good... That really got me.
I love that.
And this is probably the episode I was like, oh shit, Jack's really acting. The actor that plays Jack is really putting some shit into this. He went full drag, and I don't know if we're going to get to it or not, but there's that episode where he wants to play a serial killer in another movie that's almost based on
the clip where he gets it really in his eye. I can be a psycho killer. I can be a psycho killer.
He really, like, they zoom up the camera from the low angle, and like they hit it with the horror shot, and it was really good. We just saw the guy that got fired. That's who was really stalking. I'm giving all the whole show away, but that's who was really going after
Spoilers
Sarah Silverman.
On this show that's been off the air for a couple of
I
decades.
know, it's another thing. But like it turns out it wasn't Jack, and he saves Sarah Silverman from getting stabbed.
There is a lot of fun, subtle stuff with Jack. He is a Vietnam veteran,
right?
And he has a dark past, and you can see those little subtle things in his performance all over the place. Before we get out of the party, I do want to. The camera movement as they show the party is fun, and Warren playing Christopher Cross gave me such a big smile. Arthur's theme could have been anything, but Arthur's theme especially made me smile at this. So yeah, this camera movement it probably took them all fucking morning to get this down, knowing what goes into all of this.
Now, this song is about a little billionaire named Arthur, who we all fell in love with back in 1980. A precocious alcoholic who was more bored than man, but then he found true love, the guest. Hey, Laura, this one's on my CD.
Boy, you actually brought a synthesizer.
Yes, well, nothing but the best for Bla's birthday.
It's Jack's birthday.
Yeah, whatever. Come on, shove aside, Bender. The reporter can't see me. Hey, Laura! Check it out. I'm playing with my foot. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Look.
I love that it's Arthur's theme.
It's amazing.
And I like that he's doing the William Shatner thing too, where he just talks the lyrics over the music that he's playing. It's like he's telling a story to the music instead of actually singing with it. This whole party scene was really good. This is the one of the episodes I think was out of order. I think this was supposed to happen later.
Yes. So this it was aired as episode 7, but it was filmed as episode 10.
Okay. Because this is the one I think I caught some of the things between Jimmy and Allison. They were more familiar. And then later on, he walks up to her at a newsstand. He's like, I come here periodically. You know, stupid joke at the magazine rack. And then Allison's boyfriend walks up. And he's like, oh, now there's 3 handsome people here, or beautiful people. It's another one of those situations that happens in a lot of sitcoms, but I'll laugh at that every time because you know the guy's coming, or something, something's going to come in and interrupt Jimmy trying to get the girl. And I'm always rooting for him in this show.
I was kind of rooting for him to come around to Susan. If we would have
Ah.
got a season 2, I think that might have been something that they could have explored. Was Jimmy finally accepting he can't get any lady, but Susan, she is ready for some Jimmy.
Right, I agree.
And Susan is so matter of fact. I mean, if he would just go to church on Sundays with her, they would be perfect together.
Yep.
The episode, as we're talking about it, I'm seeing it in my mind.
Yep, right.
Going to church and trying to get Susan to kick her cat eating habit. There's many seeds that they planted here. That they have a talented crew that I'm sure would have revisited it as like with Futurama, another show with a talented writing staff that just has so many throwaway gags that they come back to and make as part of the plot.
I can't even tell you how many things happen in the background of Futurama that you just don't catch because it's some silly ass Harvard joke. David X. Cohen is probably one of the better producers, writers for that show.
Speaking of things in the background, I missed the shitty extra here. This guy in the blonde hair was stinking up the joint. Look how unnaturally he gets to his place here. It's very much like Garth Marenghi last week of like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. And he just so unnaturally gets there.
We have a reporter here, and until she leaves, I do not think it's too much to ask that you all for once not act like freaks.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me just check over my shoulders. I'm backing up here.
He stuck up the joint a few other places, but that's the one that just really stuck out to me of like, I'm supposed to be here and I'll do it like this.
Yeah, I agree. Very out of place, Garth Marenghi style. Like he's doing it almost as a joke. Very antithetical to my favorite extra from the Cable Guy episode. The old guy who was dancing right next to Jim Carrey. That dude was hamming it up, that whole scene.
Yes.
So great.
We noticed him, and when they did, I'm sure they shot that scene with only a few extras in the bedroom last. And Ben Stiller, as the director, was like, "We need him to be
Right
one
out in
of the
front."
handful of people. Look at him, really hamming it up." And I wish I knew where to find more of that old guy extra. That he belongs in the extra Hall of Fame just for that one performance.
What's the next clip? Where are we going? A little bit of dead silence.
We can go anywhere here.
Let me look at my notes and see. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In the father and son episode, we have each episode starts and ends with a Greg the Bunny voiceover. So here's that voiceover as he sets up the premise of the episode.
There, before you hit this clip, I just want to say, in the same way that there is one episode where we get the song at the end with the still image instead of getting the outtakes, there is also one episode with no Greg intro, which drove me insane. It's the Piddler on the Roof episode.
I missed it.
And I was like, but I don't understand what the theme of the episode is. Like, I don't.
That actually didn't stick out to me as a sore thumb as much as it did to you.
I had to go back and rewatch it because I was like, did I miss what the theme of this episode is?
That's a good point. And again, like, especially somebody who wants to rewatch it, you're going to start seeing those little inconsistencies. You're like, oh shit, I missed that.
Yeah.
And
anyway, I love the Greg intros. I think that it's a great way to get me ready for the episode, to tell me what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, a lot of the time it's like, it'll be like, we're talking about teamwork today. We're talking about family today. And it just sets you up in a really nice way. So,
yep. No, and I agree. And that's how I didn't title the episodes in my notes the way the episodes are titled. The first episode is just Greg the Bunny, but I also wrote like Roger Rabbit with puppets. Instead, it's just Toon World kind of exists, except it's Puppet World here. And even more so because we're integrated.
Country. It's not Toontown here.
Right.
Where the puppets come from is a different country who, as we saw in that video, they want to shut down the borders and keep the puppets from coming.
That joke, this is 2002. So that's not even Donald Trump related. That's an issue that's been going on in Southwest United States. I know for sure since the late 90s because Howard Stern had people on. He would have Klans people 90s.
on.
And Stern would yell at him.
on the show Dinosaurs, there's a whole episode where they want to build a wall on the swamp to keep the four-leggers out
Right.
of the two-leggers area, and that's like 92, 93.
Yeah, see, and
that's been going on for probably back in the 1800s. They were trying to do that. That's just
Definitely
an issue that will never go away.
Also, mentioning dinosaurs, I know that some of the puppeteers from Dinosaurs were also on Greg the Bunny, which I thought was really cool. And it makes sense, I guess, timing-wise.
I like that trivia too. That's good. I'm glad you said that. That's so cool.
Excited. I want to say that Victor Yared, who played Tardy, was one of the people who also did Dinosaurs, but I know there was at least a couple.
I wish I could do that scream that he does, the Tardy scream, that like inverted, like I can't do it anymore.
It makes sense that they had the experienced puppeteers on here, as well as they made these puppets come to life. They were able to, as an actor comes into a role, the puppeteers got into that role very quickly and were able to bring them to life.
Yeah, I agree. It's very it's like it's meshes real well and it's enjoyable. Real quick about my titles for the episode. Episode 2, I wrote down child strangling, and I can't remember why. Something happens in episode 2.
I remember why. I've got that clip. We could.
I know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's why you guys are here.
We'll get all into episode 2. I've got two clips of the father and son, and then we'll get into episode 2.
Okay, Cayley, I love it. Real quick, my notes always start out this way. They're like bulky in the first half of a season, but by the end, like they're thin out so much because I'm just laughing my ass off, and I really did. I was zooming into the show. I'm just like watching episode after episode, not wanting to take notes, just enjoying it. Because there are so many, it's dense with just one-liners at the end of a thing, and then they cut to the next scene. And I was trying to keep track, but I can't write them all down. We'd be here all day.
Yeah, same thing with pulling clips. As I was saying with the Garth Marenghi episode, that could have just been a watch-along with all the clips that were I wanted to pull from there. I was a little more pulling back on this one after I had so many clips from that one. But as I was saying, the voiceover from Greg the Bunny, we'll get to here on the father-son episode, and then a clip of father and son bonding. Then we'll get into episode 2.
History is filled with fathers and sons who just can't get along. Oedipus and Mr. Oedipus, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, son of Sam and Sam. You know, it makes you wonder if fathers and sons will always be destined to collide.
That right there.
Russian joke there.
Yeah.
Yes. I was so waiting for the coffee to run right into Eugene Levy, and then he missed him. And I was like, that's so good.
They fully set it up for that misdirection. Gets you as big of a laugh as if, maybe bigger than if they would have actually collided.
No, it's like how you said with not hearing the narration. You go, you son of a bitch, where it didn't do the thing it was supposed to do. And real quick, the foreshadowing with the little skunk that walks by. He just cuts by real quick. And later, I think in this episode, when Gil loses his mind on people, the skunk just unleashes right in Count Blah's face.
And Blah is like, let's get this over with. And he knows it's coming.
Bomb over
yeah,
here.
It's the ticking time bomb. That's what he's got, a ticking time bomb. He's like, I'm clenched.
It's only when I get nervous. And of course, then Gil's big blow up. They set it up. As soon as you see him afraid of getting hit, he's getting hit.
It's the puppets do a shake. They do that. It's so visible, and they'll pinch the mouth in. I don't know. I have a high respect for this type of work.
Yeah, these puppets aren't hugely articulate. But what they do have, they work very well with, as you said, of pinching the lip in, that cowboy switch we saw with Warren's eyes. They work with what they have very well.
And from time to time, Warren's hat will dictate what mood he's in. Like they'll push his hat way down, as if he was furrowing his eyebrows instead. So I like little bells and whistles like that.
But do you like eggs?
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Here's how they bond. Jimmy's parents are getting a divorce, and she is going out with Jimmy's old high school gym teacher. So he already hates the guy. Gil hates the guy. So they are going to fuck with him and bond over it.
Who throws like a girl now? Eat this!
Hello?
Here's a big hello.
Doofus!
Who's out there?
Your worst nightmare! Ooh, see, your worst nightmare.
It's such
I
a good
love it.
scene. Yeah, I love it. They
Still
both throw
throws
like
like a girl.
pansies.
And
They
this
couldn't.
actually brought back good memories for me because I actually did have to throw eggs at some. Let's see, I was the stand-in, and they were actually principal actors, and they're asking me to almost hit them, but please, absolutely do not hit them. And I'm like, I'm not in denial like these two are. I throw like a girl. I'm going to, and I just upset water all over on myself. As
I
I'm
would-
talking about me throwing like a girl.
I would definitely accidentally hit them. Like, there is no way. Somebody would be like, don't hit the target. And I would be like, okay, I'm not going to hit the target. Just like I never hit the target. And then I would absolutely accidentally hit them with eggs.
I understand that wholeheartedly. It's part of the Charlie Brown syndrome.
There was one that I was totally 100% going to hit him, and the actor ducked just in time. I'm like, oh, they have to keep that one. I totally fucked up and was about to hit him right in the head instead of narrowly missing him and splatting on the wall. I've got to go back and see if that made it into the final. That's quite appropriate as I talk about myself.
That's why I laughed. It was timed out really well. See, and that makes to the point I was just about to say. The take that you messed up on came out better than something that they pre-planned, and I think that happens a lot in this show. Is that like how they show the blooper and outtakes at the end? They do really pick some of the better, maybe not even scripted takes, and stick them in the show and use them. But this whole scene was great. Seth Green's he tucks and rolls with the eggs behind the bush. Like he's like looking left and right, and he does a spin move, and then he tucks the eggs under and does a front roll, and then they set up to throw the eggs, and then have a hard time setting the car alarm off to get Coach McGurk outside.
I also really like that we don't get to see a lot of similarities between Jimmy and Gil. They are very different characters, so we don't really get to see their father-son relationship a ton. And this is the moment where we get to both see that they have a ton of personality similarities. At their heart, when they are being goofy, this is what they want to do together to bond. And I think that's lovely. It's a beautiful little ending to this episode.
Yeah, well, because they're both distraught. Jimmy about his mom and Gil about his wife. And they both love her very much still and are not approving of this guy. And they handle it in the Pop Brownie way that things should be handled,
And I believe the wife and mother, Julie Haggerty, I think is the actress's name, the love interest in Airplane. Anytime I see her in anything, she's got such a distinctive voice and look. Airplane lady.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you guys caught that, because there's a lot of people who show up cameo-wise. You brought up Jeff Ross earlier. Boo, Jeff Ross. David Spade was also in an episode, and
in the same episode as Jeffrey Ross.
Yeah. I could have made that clip longer because Greg the Bunny passes by David Spade on the lot. Oh my God, it's a celebrity! And then he runs over to Count Blah, just completely ignoring David Spade.
And this is the episode that I think earned its moment. Like you said, you enjoyed watching them bond, and that would be as a daughter. As a son myself. I really did enjoy it, and they also rip on Keanu Reeves in this episode.
What made the episodes my favorites was the cast bonding together, them coming together to get Dottie's blackmailer, and the TV Guide episode. I think because of the cast coming together as this group of misfits that really do enjoy each other, even though they can't stand each other, is what put those over the top, making them, I don't know if they are indeed my top three, I'll tease episode 2 talking one more time as we get to a little bit more of the puppets. Actually, this was another fun little bonding thing. They stayed up playing poker all night, and we have a fun little articulation, different puppet with Count Blah here.
Oh, come on, guys. Don't tell me you've been here all night. Oh, geez, you have. In case you didn't know,
Jack's the big winner. He won Count Blah's cape.
Here's the thing. Right before this, there was the scene where Count Blah was about to quit. He was getting ready to walk away with all the winnings. And then Jack says, "Oh, come on, dude. We don't even got to do the alphabet tomorrow." He's like, "Well, what about numbers?" It's like 6 and 8. He's like, "All right, I'm back in." And then they cut back to this scene. Warren is wearing Blah's necklace, and Jack's got his cape. And one more quick joke. There's a Jamaican guy that keeps going, "Mon." "Yeah, mon." And then Blah is always, "Bleh. Well, I'll step bleh when you stop mon." He's like, "All right, mon." Like they couldn't get... I thought that was a pretty silly gag that I enjoyed, that they both got a verbal
Mon
tick.
couldn't stand Blah, and Blah couldn't stand his mon.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know why that was so funny to me, but it really, I don't know. Again, with the bells and whistles, just little throwaway jokes.
20 minutes. Look at this. Look at this.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready. Good.
I didn't even notice the slobber on him. I couldn't miss the chips that they made sure stuck to his face, but I actually missed the slobber on my previous watch through.
No, and that's great. I used to own I had a bulldog, and I would do that. He had a mastiff too. They had lips, and you can just do this, and like pick their lips up, and their whole mouth is right there. And so that when I saw that and all the drool, I was like, that somebody owns a lippy dog. They know it, because they love to do that. They'll just come up to you and wipe their lip right on your pants. They'll give you one of those, and you got this whole certain type of stain that looks very different than dog slobber on your pant leg.
I definitely know that from mastiffs. All you need to do is be in the presence of a mastiff once, and you do not forget that.
They do it. They'll lip it, man. They'll rub it right on your. It's a sign of endearment. They like you if they do it, but your outfit's ruined for the night, especially if it's black.
Can we get some air in here, please? Somebody open the door. You call yourselves professionals? I'm very, very, very disappointed here.
Oh, good kill.
Oh, I'm going to have to start with a friendship song now. Okay, well, you clowns get yourselves together.
It's very fun that it's the hygiene song that they're messing up and can't do now, that they have to do the friendship song first instead. Everyone take a shower.
Fantastic
proper
writing.
for the hygiene song. So we've been teasing episode 2. This is one of the jokes from episode 2 has stuck with me all these years. And when Cayley quoted Count Ait to me in Tampa, I got a big smile because of all the gags from Greg the Bunny, Jimmy rebooting it, trying to bring it to the new generation and bring the MTV fast cuts, flashing lights. He's changing everything around. And here is part of the reboots that Jimmy is doing with Count Ait.
See, now I've been thinking about, you need a new catchphrase, my man. So I thought, what? Word or G or yo? No, it's got to be.
Hey, Iggy.
No, it's I. Count Ait is in the house.
You can't take away my Blah's Blah.
No, Blah is dead. Long live Count Ait. Ait.
Yeah, well, I can't help but think that it is definitely not all right.
I don't know why it is, but in 2002, I thought that Igit was the funniest thing that has ever happened on the face of the planet. I love this so much. He does it a whole bunch more throughout the episode where he says Igit instead of being able to say I. And
there's something about that Igit that tickles me very much too. We both very much love the Igit. He can't quite get it.
It's
so good.
It sounds borderline dirty in some sort of fashion too. Like you're not supposed to be saying that.
I'm very
not
much
because you're
with you.
mispronouncing it, but because it sounds like something derogatory in some fashion. But and knowing that it's just and it makes it so much better.
I
So-
can't quite explain why Iyigot is so damn funny, but I 100% agree with you, Cayley. There is just something about Iyigot and Count
Iyigot.
Blah not being able to get it that is just so great.
So like at one point, finally at the end of the episode, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it if you have the clip for this, but finally Gil gets him to be able to say I by saying, say a light, now drop the L, and then he can finally say I. But I just love that he is so Romanian and so into his blahs that he can't stop being himself. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's what makes the show great. It's very character driven.
And actually, also another father and son moment. Gil hates all these changes. Everyone hates the changes. They're awful. They're for 20-year-olds in the year 2000, not for 4-year-olds. But in the end, this is what we're doing on the show, and Gil helps out his son. And yeah, I remember it being much bigger. It's small, but it works very well. Of Gil coming around and getting everyone to get on board with Jimmy's ideas. Say a light, drop the L. I got it.
Right. No, that was a nice. That's what made that later moment where they're egging the house pay off more, because we see this episode first where Jimmy just eats it. You know, it's the green screen background. There's no set anymore. It's just all a green screen. This was the episode where fleshies fail upwards, like the puppets are ripping on the humans, and
the fleshies fail upwards, and it's also a nepotism kid of Jimmy getting in there. In the beginning, Gil just wanted him to get a job. He was so excited to have him as an office assistant rather than a pool man, as Jimmy said. I'm not a pool boy. I'm a pool man.
Yeah,
But
that was
Greg the Bunny, and Jimmy came aboard eventually, so got what he wanted in the end. Here I have some more changes that Jimmy put on Sweet Knuckle Junction.
But what's Junction Jack without Chew?
I'm glad you asked, JJ. See, a new Chizu needs a new jack, or should I say, a Cybo jack with a rocket pack.
But if I drive a train, why would I use a rocket pack? Who wears a rocket pack on a train? Not me. Look, you either use your rocket pack or you choose some other suitable means of transportation, but you don't do both. That's crazy.
It's so good.
He's
just crazy.
So into this. I don't recall seeing this actor anywhere else, but he's
in Demolition Man.
Oh, is he?
Where in Demolition Man?
He is. Oh my god! I remember when I watched Demolition Man for the first time. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Junction Jack." It's a small. It's not totally nothing. He's also in. I think he's in Shawshank Redemption too. I think he has a lot of small role. He's like a character actor.
And he does very well, communicating so much of being so unhappy here. But what's wrong with you, Jimmy? He does so much with minimal. Now I have to have more reasons to rewatch Demolition Man.
Yeah, I know. I've been that's on my to watch list here shortly.
In response to this, also, one of the things that I really like once we actually get to start seeing them filming the SK 2.0 episode with all of the bells and whistles, I really like that we see Jack on like little, wires are the words that I'm looking for, because he's now a robot, crazy flying man. And he is like making jokes about how he's getting turned into a puppet.
I do have that clip here of Dottie and Jack having to do what Jimmy told them to, because it's not really jokes. He is kind of disturbed by being turned into this.
You got her a go-go pole?
And there was some White Snake playing over Dottie and her go-go pole, so I pulled that audio out.
There was a couple of licensed songs in a few episodes.
But very proper for a stripper pole there on a 4-year-old child's show.
Here I go
Oh, the
again.
kids are gonna get this, but their fathers will. Whoa! What have you done to Junction Jack?
Dear God, it's finally happened. You've turned me into a puppet.
Very disturbed. It's a joke to us, but this isn't a joke to Jack. Oh my God, I'm no longer a human. It was finally done. It was Gil's goddamn son that turned me into an actual puppet.
It's
Yeah,
that.
he's like, oh my God, I no longer have authority over my own body.
Yeah, it's like that movie Tusk. He got stitched into a puppet bit by bit. And yeah, I like it. They turned me into a puppet. It's almost Charleston Heston at the end of Planet of the Apes, like damn dirty apes. Like he's just so fed up about what happened to him.
I think this episode probably has the most things happening in it. So we also have Warren has to lose 6 pounds. You know, there's just like a lot of little things that are happening all throughout this episode. It's a jam-packed episode, and so there's a ton of great one-liners. There's a ton of amazing stuff, and I think it's a good one. But I also think in the air date order, this one was the second episode. So we keep referring to it as the second episode. It was filmed production order-wise as episode 4, and it doesn't make any sense to have it as episode 2 because I don't even know what Sweet Knuckle Junction is yet.
Good point.
How come I am changing everything?
It should have been the baseline established a bit more. I completely agree. Of the studio seeing this as the something big, loud, and so much going on. We got to get this out first, even though narratively it would have made much more sense as 4 or even further down the line, 6-10 rather than 2.
Yeah, it's to that point that you made earlier that they wanted to front load the season with the better episodes to try to keep people hooked into this.
I think episode 3 was the paintball episode, so they have action scenes going on. Yeah, they're front loading it with the more big things.
Not only that, but episode 3 was filmed as episode 11. So at the time that we are seeing episode 3, we are supposed to have relationships with all of these characters. We are supposed to, when we see the Jewel Heist episode, we are supposed to get the idea that, you know, Greg is kind of goofy and might be afraid of dogs because puppets are afraid of dogs. We're supposed to understand why Allison would be so combative with Gil, but instead we see it in episode 3 when we don't understand those relationships as deeply.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That they were already, towards the end of the season, they would have had done maybe 1 or 2 things together, like getting Dottie's sex tape back, but still were at odds most of the time and would need to be in that. And the sexism rivalry too, you know, that would have been more established, as Dottie would have been the dumb one, and Allison being the domineering lady boss, and Sarah just being her old beautiful self.
Here I've got a little bit of them filming the new SK 2.0.
Action. Yo, that was Alphabet Soup by the Schoolhouse That Rocks. PS12, you're back with Dante.
And me, the fright of the night, your home slice, Count Blonde. Oh, damn it.
No blondes.
Okay. It's the funniest joke to me of the episode, maybe of the entire series.
I don't know why.
I can't explain why Count Iget Blah is the funniest thing. Explaining the joke never works, but usually I understand why. I don't understand why I find this the best.
So let's try it again.
Okay, yeah, I'll get it, Jimmy Blah. Oh, damn it. And me, Count Blake Blah. Damn! Crap Blah! Blah! Damn!
It's so good. The delivery is so perfect.
Yeah, no, he's very upset with himself. God damn it, blah, damn it. You know, it's just like it's a. I don't want to say it's like a OCD kind of tick, but it's just so ingrained in him. I used to say "dude" like at the end of every sentence, dude. It was no problem. I'd start a sentence with "dude" and end it with "dude." You know, it was so I know how that crutch can just stay buried in you, especially at this point. I think they were supposed to be doing this show for like 13 years. They're contenders in the kids market at Sweet Knuckle
I forget
Junction.
how many years they say, but everyone has been here for a long time.
Right.
And what kicks off these changes to the show is a focus group of kids. And here is why you titled this episode as such in your notes, was this
Oh
focus
yeah,
group of
yeah,
kids.
How does a monkey get that fat? Yeah, he looks like a chocolate cake with eyes. Yeah.
Okay, pardon me. Oh, good God! You ever seen a chocolate cake do this, boys? You ever seen a chocolate cake? Swagger, no, you heard what she said, Dick. You heard what she said. Those scrambling children.
I love that they're laughing at it. That little girl, she's trying to cry, but not. Like she's trying to act cry. So she's like, dude, it's so funny.
I also
doing her best
just
to
love
ask-
Allison putting her glasses back
Back on.
on. Like it's a perfect scene.
Yeah, and that's another thing. There's it's sort of ensemble cast before really being totally ensemble. You know, Sarah Silverman had done a few things before this. Seth Green was really new. I think I posted in your Discord, Dylan, the old Rallies commercial.
Yeah, him as an unknown in the Rallies commercial. I believe he had done Can't Hardly Wait at this point. So he was kind of known, but yeah, he was not as well known as he is now.
Yeah, he was always like somebody's friend in a movie, like without a paddle. He was just like a guy in the group. He fit that one kid mold so well. And you mentioned Robot Chicken, like Seth Green and some of the puppeteers from here went to go on to do that show. And that ran for, I think, 4 or 5 years before I think it went away and then came back again. I'm not sure
Adult
how
Swim has
Adult
a
Swim.
weird schedule of there'll be a new season like every other year for a lot of their
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah, it's strange.
Like they I assume it's a money issue because otherwise they would be pumping out like once a year rather than once every other year. Same with the Venture Brothers. They I think they just had their final season. There's a lot of fans of the Venture Brothers, but they've been just wildly inconsistent with new episodes of that.
Yeah, I think they did. I know 3 seasons took 4 or 5 years to make the first 3, and they're on like 7 or 8 now. And there's year gaps in between some of those things that happen. Like it goes on. But that was another show that it nailed so many of the superhero tropes.
And sorry to the chat that I haven't been as engaging with you as other episodes. When I have guests, it's a bit harder for me to stay engaged with the guests and the chat. But Catherine letting everyone know the meetup you were talking about is going to be in Denver. So it was getting very spicy in the chat earlier. But
I did see that.
Guests,
we all saw that.
with guests, I'm not able to monitor the chat as well as I regularly am.
Yeah, I'm too busy stepping on all you guys. You guys keep trying to talk, and here I am just talking right over you. So, yeah, I'm having. I did catch that earlier in the chat.
I muted you.
King Yeti.
You're unmuted.
You son of a bitch. At least you didn't kick me out. Just like
which I also have the ability to do.
No.
I won't kick you.
No, we're fine.
As I mentioned, we did have that same focus group at the end as we did at the beginning, and Gil is actually proud of what they've done. They have this father-son moment here that, all right, we did it. I didn't want to do it, but I'm actually enjoying that we did it. And you know what? I think you do know what you're doing, Jimmy. And here's that focus group.
Look at those kids' faces, huh? Look at this kid smiling over here. There's one laughing. But he's not making any noise.
Look at that. We got him drooling.
Jeez, look at that one. He's flopping on the floor and foaming at the mouth. His eyes are rolling back in his head.
Shut off the TV. It's the quick cuts and the strobing lights and turn the TV off, please. What have you two done?
Jimmy, look at this. What have you done here? You've given the kids seizures.
No, Dad. We're giving him seizures.
That's
a classic
thing, Dad. We did it together.
That turn and stare is a classic Eugene Levy tool. That's in his toolkit as an actor. Because he does it in Schitt's Creek all the time to his son. Like his actual son. Which is and one of the movies that made me really like Eugene Levy was best in show.
He was a regular with the Christopher Guest movies. I love him even more in A Mighty Wind.
I gotta watch that again.
It might be Christopher Guest's most known movie, but A Mighty Wind, I love. I think it is my favorite Christopher Guest.
I thought that was more popular than Best in Show, actually. So, because I thought more people had knew what A Mighty Wind was.
I would say more people know about Best in Show.
Oh, probably because of Comedy Central.
Got more mainstream than A Mighty Wind.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Eugene Levy had 2 left feet. That was one of the biggest jokes I remember. Them like panning down to him, and he literally has 2 left feet in Best in Show. It was so weird because he was a bad dancer. He played
that oddball very well in both those movies. He was like a recluse in with Mitch and Mindy in A Mighty Wind. What happened? I do remember one of the chatters when I dropped that in a live chat, knowing exactly what I meant with Fred Willard's "What happened?"
That's another guy I like to watch. He just shows up and stuff, and you can't take your eyes off him. Fred Willard is such a funny guy.
Speaking of showing up and stuff, I mentioned Moving Violations on, I think, yesterday's show, and Fred Willard is in that as well.
Oh, no shit.
He had that great line in Spinal Tap, the pre-Christopher Guest movie, when Rob Reiner was directing. We're big fans of yours. Well, not yours in particular, but the whole rock music genre.
So good.
So we are getting to the end of the clips. We've talked a lot about Greg the Bunny, and thank you, Cayley, for suggesting this, because
100%.
It's been a long time since I checked these out. I mentioned, I forget if it was before or after we got on the air. I used to have the DVD, but in moving across the country, I had to offload some of my favorite DVDs, and the Greg the Bunny was one I no longer own a physical copy of.
I love the show. I'm so thankful that we got to talk about it. I do want to quickly mention, though, as long as we're talking about people showing up in things, we have not talked at all about episode 13, which is Jimmy Drives Gil Crazy.
Oh, yeah, let's let the clip speak for itself. This would be, there's the first one where, Warren, Jimmy goes over Warren's house to clean up his dog's poo, and Warren's neighbor is taking out revenge on him. But unfortunately, it's Jimmy and Greg. So here is that pop-up of that celebrity.
Oh, Jimmy, what took you so long? Ah! Hey, wait a minute, you're Corey Feldman. I thought you were a stuffed animal. I thought you were in rehab. No, that was Corey Haim. And what did I say?
Yeah, that's good.
That was a fun little cameo by Corey Feldman before he was full-on pathetic, when he was only half pathetic.
Yeah.
Right.
So he actually is featured pretty heavily in the whole episode, and they have the outtakes, of course, at the end. And you can kind of see him being a little bit of a dick in the outtakes. So it's definitely like right around that time period.
As he's going back into his Michael Jackson transition.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
he got out of that and then went right back into it. And if you're going to rip off, you can't rip off one of the greatest singers of our generation when you don't have that talent. It just highlights how untalented you are when you try to emulate that. So I think I've got 3 more clips of Corey Feldman, but yeah, I should have pulled those end credits, because we have Greg kind of improvising and Corey being like a dick to the actor.
Yeah, so Corey says Dan Milano plays Greg, and Greg like trips over a line, and then Corey Feldman is like, "Oh, you forget your line?"
Yeah,
right. But like it doesn't come off as playful; it comes off as douchey.
Yeah, like he's trying to poke him to make him mad. And that's like the word on the street about this guy, is that he's that kind of person where he's just a dick to everybody, and not like a lovable dick. Which is one of the characters in this show. I can't remember which one offhand, but I remember the conversation. They were saying, oh, it was a gaffer, somebody, a boom mic guy. You're like, oh, that guy's an asshole. But he's a lovable asshole, and he's like, fucking blow me, you know, and everybody and laughs. So there's like that makes the point that you have to be somewhat endearing to be that kind of jerk to people.
Yeah.
I barely get away with it most of the time. Usually I try to alleviate myself from the situation, you know, get the read on the room. But yeah, I keep going to call him Montague. That's his last name. Warren
de Montague.
Was feeding
De Montague.
Yes, and he feeds the dog raspberries. That's why he had to go clean the shit up, because Corey Feldman's dog was shitting in Warren's yard, and he was gonna. I think he said something about doing something to the dog, but I don't recall because I didn't write it down. If I would have wrote it down, maybe I'd remember.
And I do have to thank Catherine for her condolences on my long lost DVDs. I did have a grieving period over that, Flight of the Conchords, and a few others, Blazing Saddles, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I was sad to let them go, but I have gotten over them. I can't find the audio commentary anywhere online. That's what's really fun about a physical copy.
That's why I specifically like DVD, because even some Blu-rays don't come with those director commentaries anymore.
You can't get the director and star commentary on this, but anywhere on the physical copy. And that was really fun to hear Stuttering John talk about how a child actor didn't show up in a completely unnecessary scene that they could have just cut, but he called in his wife to drag his daughter out of bed at 1 a.m. and film this completely unnecessary scene at 2 a.m. Oh, thank you for dropping that on this Father of the Year.
God, man, I can't believe that Stuttering John is still going. He's still going.
Yep. He's a dead horse at this point. I can take about 5-10 minutes of goofing on him. And I own a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast costume. But after 5-10 minutes, I am tapped out of what that guy is up to.
Worst neighbor anybody could ever have, all right? Every time I have a party, he goes and calls the police. Every time the police come, he calls the Inquirer. Every time the Inquirer writes a story about me, he sends it to my mom.
What I especially love about this, about Corey Feldman freaking out about the police and the Inquirer being called on him, is when Anthony Cumia was covering him over on the Feldman Files, Corey called the police on himself and called the news on himself. And you see him, one of his neighbors must have been Warren, who released the footage of him just milling about looking for the police to show up, so his name would be in the paper for throwing this kick-ass party.
You see, that's not endearing.
Nope, not at all. And Warren did not endear himself to the rest of his cast.
No, he did not.
As seen by them watching the car chase live and Allison's reaction.
Quick, turn on the news. That stupid psycho Warren is in a police chase. Unbelievable. I knew he was unstable. I knew that he was going to embarrass us with his drinking and his whoring.
I'm right here.
Oh,
The
Warren,
puppet that just
you're
walked
standing
away.
right there. Oh, thank God you're okay. I was worried about you.
The was that the asshole grip that?
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that's him.
I like that guy. I like that they do that with some of these puppets, like the cashier at the grocery store. He was just like a regular dude. He wasn't an actor puppet. He had a stud coming out of his bottom lip that was like 3 inches long. So outrageous. This dude wears a leather jacket and runs this, like, he acts like a regular fucking what up guy, you know. And like you were mentioning about Warren Montague before, he's I'm an actor. You know, it doesn't matter what show he's on. He's the actor here.
Oh, and we do have a flashback of Jack's mom with another just regular bad boy puppet that is a fun little cutaway gag.
And one day I came home early from a scout meeting. I just won a merit badge for marksmanship. I heard this strange noise coming from my parents' bedroom. And that's when I saw him. Googly eyes, crazy fur, that good-looking bad boy kind of charm women can't resist. Well, that was the end of our happy family. Mom never said a word. But somehow, Dad and I knew she was never coming back.
Just
That
drove
extra
away with the
gag.
house.
that extra gag of taking the trailer with her is
So
fucking
good.
great. Jack's tragic background with puppets, and now he works every day, being reminded that his mom ran away with a puppet.
Yeah, you needed to see this before they turned me into a puppet line. You know, like, so it hits a little harder.
Yeah.
That's I really like this show. There was a lot of jokes that we didn't even talk about that went throughout the whole season.
They were very good at gags. There's a lot of gags dropped all over the place. I do have another clip of the puppet sensitivity episode where they are encouraged to feel the differences in one another, and Warren gets away with a little much.
Now, really experience the shape, the form. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. We're not really that different, are we?
Wait, that's your nose, right?
Jack?
Hmm?
I'm concerned you're gonna hurt me if I try to touch you.
I'd go with that.
Yeah, hello.
Warren, what are you doing?
Just feeling out differences, baby. Letting go of differences. Okay.
Feeling up Allison when he has the chance. Everyone in this episode was very ready to violate Allison, and Warren was the one that got the chance.
Yeah,
And he took
deservedly. Yeah, I think he should have got it. One of the jokes, somebody said limp brisket, and I can't remember why they said limp brisket, but I got that another one of those quick throwaways that just gets a chuckle out of me. And the second episode with SK 2.0 had Kevin Michael Richardson as one of the voice actors for one of the puppets. I can't remember which one, but I caught his name in the credits. So if anybody's a fan of voice acting, that guy is everywhere. He is like every bad guy in every cartoon ever around. And if you see his face, you would never think it was him. And that's what I really like about voice acting. It's like you'll see a character, then you'll look up the guy that does the voice, and you're like, oh shit, who's this little squeaky white guy? Like Billy West and Kevin Michael
And
Richardson.
Billy West, or like Harry Shearer, they have such a range that I don't know exactly who they are until I really study them and am able to. Well, Billy West, he's got such range. Like, I didn't know he was Zoidberg until someone actually audibly told me that he was Zoidberg, and I knew he was all over the show. But Harry Shearer, once I was able to figure out, oh, this is him. Trying to pick out who Dan Castellaneta does, who Azaria does on The Simpsons, it's sometimes difficult because they all have such range.
Yeah, Hank Azaria, yeah, very underrated. He was Apu and Lou. He did a black character and an Indian character on The Simpsons. And there's this movie called I Know That Voice. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty decent.
Yes,
about
I've seen
voice
that one.
acting. But he says his plan is to do like shitty celebrity impressions so poorly that it becomes its own voice. Lou from The Simpsons, the Black Cop, that's Rocky. That's him doing Sylvester Stallone. Like, all right, chief, like, but it doesn't sound like Sylvester Stallone. But in Hank Azaria's head, that's what he has to do in order to make Lou happen. Similar to Gil with Count Blas saying, now say a light and drop the L. You got that's how there's a little bit of trickery in people's brains like that. That's interesting to me.
And we were talking about random gags. We've heard this line on a lot of TV shows, but them analyzing it here was fun.
We're going to Greg's place. He needs our help.
Why, what's wrong, Black?
No time to explain.
Wait a minute, there's plenty of time to explain, Black. Greg's place is like 40 minutes away.
I love jokes like that. Those are my favorite types of jokes, where it's just the literal matter-of-factness of us. Like,
We're going to Greg's place.
No time to talk. The canned line, but then a literal response right after.
the glance over where he's like, "You're right, but I still don't want to tell you."
That was my excuse.
Right, exactly.
Stop calling me out.
Yeah, let the drama simmer, please.
And looking at my clips, it looks like I think we've just got this one that I haven't played yet of a tardy line. And I see why I didn't find it earlier. I just have tard here rather than tard E. That's why it wasn't coming up when I was searching my clips for tardy.
Crayons taste like purple.
That's
Another
Greg
good line.
being nervous. Why are you nervous? Look at your co-stars.
Tardy
Yes.
is very much Ralph Wiggum.
Yes, I agree. That's why I like him. I was just going to mention, because Ralph Wiggum was eating paste.
Yeah. And he also does
purple berries.
Yeah, he does. Tardy does at one point also the green ones make me horny.
Yeah.
Was at
Oh,
the
what was
time
he
that when
eating?
he was talking about him. What was he eating?
I don't even think it was supposed to be edible.
It wasn't.
either.
It might have been the next line he had with the crayons. Because he was eating the crayons for a little while.
Maybe they did cut back to him eating more crayons, but that's all the more reason to give it a second watch for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm like forever in your debt. And this is kind of the idea of the show, except it happened to me, but for other people to see these types of didn't quite get enough attention, hilarious things. There was one more. The hamster union. Like these hamsters go on strike, and there's a picket line, and then like Gil and Allison just like they literally step right over them, and they're like, "Oh, hey, what the fuck, man? Come on!" And
you got to cross our picket line, and
Yeah.
just a larger step than they would usually take right over.
They wanted a
picket line.
couch for their running wheel. Like they needed a couch for the wheel. And you're like, "What? That's not in the budget." And they eventually they work it out. Like they get the couch because they go back after Michael McDonald.
They are the ones that help take down Michael McDonald while he's got everyone cornered with a taser. We've got a contract for you. You
Yeah,
union members.
Yeah, they jumped out. The one episode where Seth Green was dating that girl, he like changes his image. He puts on the pink sweater and he has like the polo shirt on. And Greg the Bunny sits at him and they're like, "Dude, come on, man. We used to hang out. We did this and then we played video games. We used to melt stuff together." That line hit me right in the heart because I was that kid that would melt those little green army men. Watch them, and stupid shit like that. You always got a friend that
I do love how both Jimmy and Greg are ready to change for a woman at the drop of a hat. When
Or
Greg
compete.
thought Dottie was romantically
Yeah.
interested in him, all right, what do I do? And he was like, "I'm gonna be the sexiest man alive, Abe Lincoln. No, do Bond." But he was ready to. And another little funny gag out of nowhere on his way over in his James Bond suit, he sees a guy that looks just like Abe Lincoln.
Abe
in a
Lincoln in the
sports
car.
with a beautiful woman. Should have gone Lincoln.
that Dottie and Greg episode. That's also the poker episode. Again, with like the production and stuff, they had Greg the Bunny in a lot of different positions in the show. And that particular scene, he was on a little tiny Vespa. It was the most cutest shit. He had his little James Bond jacket on, and a little blue Vespa, and he's just cruising down the street. And he pulls up next to another guy who looks like Abraham Lincoln in like a Maserati. And Lincoln's just like looking over, like, yeah, like I should have went with Lincoln, damn it. And I also wrote down Dottie LaRue. There's a song that Greg and Dottie do together, and I really noticed Dottie's face, and she looks a lot like a certain ex-wife of a certain someone.
And we will cover that next week. I will be late to the game getting to the announcement of the Steel Toe divorce on the St. Cloud Divorce Show. I could have pivoted if I didn't have a job, but it was a little late in the week for me to pivot by the time he got around to that. And we are wrapping up at this point. I'll be back next week, Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And Cayley has Once Over with Cayley over on YouTube. Are you on any other platforms you'd like to plug?
I am. I'm on Patreon. You can go find me there on Once Over with Cayley. I do popsicle reviews and reviews of stuff that gets sent to the WATP mailbox, as well as early content of my movie reviews. And in addition to that, I have recently started Twitch streaming. This evening, I will actually be doing so Thursday, May 16th is the date today. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be talking with Andy Q Public, and we will be doing a live watch of Ginger Dead Man. And because we are leading into Corey Feldman stuff, we will also be watching episode 13 of Greg the Bunny.
Excellent.
In its entirety. So please come and join us for that.
Oh, fantastic.
You sound like a professional.
I'm trying.
You're working. It's doing it.
You can also see Cayley on Who Are These Podcasts?
Oh, yeah, that. I forgot about that whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Under
That's
her
what I wanted to
alias,
harass you
Lucy?
about. Yes.
Yeah. WATP on Wednesday nights. I am there, and other times also sometimes. And we will be in Vegas coming up very soon. Everybody come to Vegas. It's going to be awesome. If you have not gotten tickets yet, hackamania.com. Use the promo code WATP to get 20% off.
Or Earl.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm in Earl's army.
Respect.
Snake is part of the Earl Nation. He is going to say, Earl's got his promo code as well. And for me, it was a this or that with Tampa and Vegas. I do want to make a Vegas and Los Angeles trip coming up later in this year, maybe next year. Depends when I get enough time off from work. But it was a this or that, and I had a blast in Tampa. Up in Rochester, DabbleCon was a whole lot of fun. So Hackamania with Lucy, WATP, Earl Skakel, Ray.
Yeah. Right. Also, Pat Dixon's going to be there, who is also, if you don't like his show, you got to see his stand-up. He's funny. That's what his main bread and butter has been for the last more than a decade.
Oh, two Pats, Pat Dixon and Patrick Milton.
Well, that's Fat Pat, and then there's regular Pat and Fat Pat.
Oh, actually, there was something recently announced that made me be like, oh, I wish I would have chose Vegas with El Horrible getting a prostate exam from Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve, yes.
I believe that's what was announced. He is going to have a curtain up with his face exposed, is what I have heard is happening on stage.
I'm pretty sure.
I have not heard that yet, and I'm very excited now.
I'm to ask El Horrible. I don't think he was joking. I think that's a legit thing that's happening on stage.
If I was going, I would have volunteered. I turned 43 this year, so I need to get that done. And if they were just gonna, form a line, might as well. Just make Dr. Steve run a what's that? Like a Tracy Lords 500, but with his finger. We'll see how many proctology exams we can get Dr. Steve to do.
Is there a sign-up sheet? Can I participate in this? I would like to. I'm going to message Dr. Steve as soon as we're done to make sure that he can also explore my anus. I would like that very much.
Yes, we need to call Guinness and see how many people it will take to set a record, and
on stage
do that. So make it worth it.
Live on stage. How many is the record? Is one the record with El Horrible? I think you do need to pad this up a little bit to see if Dr. Steve will take some volunteers from the audience to get a finger up their butt.
Yeah, man, it's 2024. Don't be so suburban. I'm
even more excited now.
But it's definitely going to be an event. And again, in August, I think Carl's got something going on up in your neck of the woods, back at Rochester.
I believe that. I can hardly keep track of this week.
Yeah, no, a lot of stuff has been coming out.
Which is great. It's wonderful. There's so much exciting stuff happening, and everybody's so wonderful, and I can't wait to meet everybody in Vegas. And
American Cupcake will be there. So
yay! I will meet you
there.
there.
American Cupcake there. And check out the Pinball Museum while we are out in Las Vegas. I do believe that the 90s spinoff of What Is This Game with Annie will be on the You'll Remember to the 90s channel this week. We shot a pilot, and hopefully we will go to series on the 90s spin on What Is This Game over
Oh man, how did I
You'll
miss out on
Remember
this?
the 90s.
How did I miss out on that? I'm a 90s video gamer aficionado.
Well, if it goes to series, well, even if it doesn't go to series, you can come on the regular What Is This Game and do something 90s.
I would like to. I'd like to hang out with Annie. I talked to her in Discord a little bit, but not a whole lot. Like you were saying, Cayley, it's a great community. There's so many decent people around here, and I need to get west of the Mississippi again, or for the first time, really. So I need to get out and travel and come hang out. And Rochester's like, I'm in Cleveland. That's like our sister city for some reason. Somehow, like Cleveland and Rochester are just like, we go to vacation there because it's so similar to us. And I know you guys had
different but the same. Very
real
Cleveland
quick
of you.
Did you listen to Rover's Morning Glory in Rochester?
A little.
Okay, because that's the guy that Chad used to beef with, and Rover has a sound guy named Chocolate Charlie.
Yeah.
Chocolate Charlie is the guy whose wife was getting threatened at the time by Chad. I don't know. I'm getting into weird lore now. I was just curious if you listened to Rover.
He also, I think Jim Norton dedicated one of his books to him because he's such a
No.
hack. I think
And
wasn't he the Dude a Bit guy? I believe?
No, that's that was Maxwell was his name. His real name is Benjamin Borenstein. And so everybody, that's the guy.
Rover confused.
Yes, that was the afternoon guy. Maxwell was the afternoon guy that got fired, and then they moved. No, they put Maxwell on because they kicked O&A off. We had the O&A replay in the afternoon, and that got moved to another channel. And then they put Maxwell on, and Maxwell tried starting beef with Opie and Anthony and everybody else. And then Chad ran with it later on. Dude, it's so fucking... The radio shit that was going on here in Cleveland, you would never know unless you live here. Because it's so nothing. It's such nothing burgers. It's so crazy. But I know that
on the
Rover
Happy
used to
Talk
shout out
portion
Rochester all the time.
Yeah.
Of the program, and we do get into Happy Talk. We
Sorry about that.
We did a review of the Wilhelm scream, the last episode, when we got into the Happy Talk portion. But I do want to get a little bit more of a shill in on here, as I like my viewers to, as I ask my viewers to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to remind you I go live Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern with several different silly show concepts. And once more for Once Over with Cayley, Spurg Snake has a few little random streams of music and playing Family Feud. Any final words on Greg the Bunny before we get on out of here? It was a fun show. Thanks for suggesting this, Cayley.
Yeah, forever in your debt for that. And October is Puppet History Month. And don't use the S word. Don't use the S word. Puppets are puppets. Don't call them socks.
I do want to suggest Carl bring the show to Atlanta. There is a puppet museum in Atlanta. So that would be huge for our little niche community.
Sounds very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been there yet myself. I did get my roommate did get the Fozzie Bear there at the Puppet Museum in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just absolutely love the show. I can't say thank you guys enough for letting me come on and talk about it. It was an honor. I just always want to talk about the show with everybody. So
and we can let the chat know this is probably one of the few times that there will be 4 boobs on the show instead of just us 2.
Hey-o.
There was a Susan joke too. She's 97% polyester. That was one of the graffitis on the bathroom.
Oh, we didn't get to the episode. We didn't talk about Warren de Montague literally tearing a hole in them because they are made out of fabric, and he tore his flesh open because he's so damn fat, and he bent over.
Oh yeah, and Greg got ripped in the back by that dog, and there was a surgery that needed to be performed. The dog's balls got cut off.
The life of Senior Truck, his little RC truck,
Senior Frog and Senior Phone. I love it so much.
Yeah, that was a good joke. Senior Phone, no. I cracked up at that one. So there's plenty of jokes that we didn't even get to that everybody should go watch this show.
He does enjoy the Latino culture. For no reason, he asks if he can dress up and play it Mexican when they're just going into Gil's office to ask for something. I think that might be the Leo episode where for no reason, can I do it as a Mexican? Hola.
That was a great episode. There was so many jokes in that we didn't even get to. So yeah, dude, thank you so much, Cayley, for bringing this to. Because like I told everybody else, I conflated it with another show, and it deserved a lot more than it got.
Yeah, Unhappily Ever After, it got a second season because of Nikki Cox. Oh my goodness! Thank you, redhead Kelly Bundy. And that was made by the Married with Children people. They proved they are a one-trick pony with that Married with Children clone with a puppet and a redhead instead of a trashy blonde.
Let's see. I'm more impressed with Greg the Bunny. They got Gary Oldman from Lost in Space to do an episode, so that was really cool.
And I wish I could find those commentaries online. I may have to rebuy the DVD because I do enjoy those little extra features, and maybe they have a little extra outtakes. And I'm going to have to go join you over on Twitch later tonight to get another viewing with an audience of Corey Feldman being a dick during the outtakes.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. That's
very exciting. It's the screen name for that is Thur Matinee. So I'm bad at spelling out loud. THUR Matinee.
2 E's in matinee. Just ask Google.
Yeah. I'll post about it on the Twitter and the things on the social medias. I know how to do things. It's great.
You're far more professional than me. I'm giving you credit for.
It's going to be
That
fun.
is all for today. Thank you, too, for joining me. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. Now, feel free to go away.
Hi, I'm Dr. Aben Mitchell. To learn more about anti-puppetism in the workplace, please contact your local library or visit us on the web at www.antipuppetismisnolaughingmatter.tartarsauce.org.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
Places all. All join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LS, MFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right left 8. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.